taking action for you. This morning on TV 20 Detroit.
What's happening in entertainment? From Tinseltown to the Big Apple, this is your weekly entertainment magazine with Greg Dunmore of PulseBeat.tv.
Pulse of a new generation. PulseBeat.tv.
It's time for the body politic to truly represent America.
I was awestruck. Well, that was the first time that I thought about registering to vote.
I stand before you today as a candidate for the Democratic nomination for the presidency of the United States of America.
Who is this? She's running for what? I said, oh, she got to be crazy. You know, I said, I got to beat her.
Spread the word, one another, heard the news thing, you ain't heard.
For the first time in the history of this nation, a person of color and a woman at that is running for the highest office of this land.
This was a period when black women were finding their voices in unprecedented ways. There's another kind of individualism and sense of liberation.
We cannot continue to take things as they are. When we see around us that government is not responsive to certain segments of the population.
There was a grassroots movement. People who had never participated in political thought and political ideas were now doing it.
She was willing to take on the white establishment on the issues of the Vietnam War, on Head Start.
Of course, she was the first African-American female in Congress, in the U.S. Congress, and she was also the first black person since Reconstruction, I would think, that was a serious candidate for the presidency of this country.
I stand before you today as a candidate for the Democratic nomination for the presidency of the United States of America.
I felt that the time had come when a black person or a female person could and should be president of these United States of America. Not only white males. Just about 4 years before, I had gone to the Congress as the first black person to be elected to the Congress, and I had gone on a number of speaking engagements through the country, and there was a fantastic development for me as an individual, and people were encouraging me, Ms. Chisholm, you should run. You should run because you're a woman. We never had a woman president. You're black. You never had a black person for president. You speak Spanish. You have a lot of things, and you have a knowledge of the issues. Run. Yeah. But I knew I would be in trouble because the moment that the announcement was made that I was going to make a bid for the presidency, all hell broke loose.
There was nobody before her.
Senators, congressmen, please heed the call. Don't stand in the doorway, don't block up the hall, for he that gets hurt will be he who is stalled. The battle outside raging, listen, shake your windows and rattle your walls, for the times they are a-changing.
As coined by the poetic and prophetic singer-songwriter Bob Dylan, the times they are changing. On this episode of the National Association of Black Journalists award-winning, Emmy-nominated PulseBeat with Greg Dunmore, we hope to inspire and motivate you from the late, great Congresswoman SHIRLEY CHISHOLM.
But I think what is even more important than whether or not America is ready for me as a president is to begin to prepare America for the fact that it is time that other peoples in America besides white males run for the highest office in this land. Someday blacks will leave this country, but someday women will leave this country. That's what this is all about.
When elected officials are sensitive to things that may be overlooked, we benefit from that as a people, and there are some strong women who are leading and making sure that dynamic things are being done.
Today we prove that no one is above the law, no matter how rich, powerful, or politically connected you are. Everyone must play by the same rules. We have a responsibility to protect the integrity of the marketplace. And for years, Donald Trump engaged in deceptive business practices and tremendous fraud. Donald Trump falsely, knowingly, inflated his net worth by billions of dollars to unjustly enrich himself, his family, and to cheat the system. Donald Trump may have authored the art of the deal, but he perfected the art of the steal.
Wow, it's been said that you should never argue with anybody who Harriet Tubman would have shot. Now, and she would never have shot you, but because we're in this very delicate time of democracy, is there something that you can say for those who do not understand that the power is in the vote?
So the entire country is looking to Michigan, and that's why I am here. I went to a number of black churches, and what I know about my history and about my faith is my faith teaches me all about liberty and freedom. And those liberties and those freedoms are at risk at this point in time. And so given all of the ancestors and all of those who died for the right to vote, it's incumbent upon all of us, the responsibility is on all of our shoulders to get out and vote. And to vote, obviously, for decency and normalcy, and to vote so that we can continue the progress that we have made as a people. That is what is critically important. And to join with other groups, other marginalized groups, to join with others who are concerned about the threat to our democracy, and to remember the words in our Constitution that we are the people.
And can you also say something motivational? Because they say if you're not criticized, you're not doing anything right. And in terms of personal attacks, and you have been personally attacked, the strength, something you can pass on, your feelings about when people attack you in ways that, you know what I'm talking about.
And I live in the district of Congresswoman SHIRLEY CHISHOLM. Faith and fear do not share the same space. I've got steel in my backbone. It comes from my ancestors and all of those individuals who come through the Middle Passage. And so therefore, I've been taught and instructed, and it's part of my DNA to just lead and go forward. It is your responsibility to get out the vote. Everyone from across this nation is looking to Michigan to deliver justice and to deliver decency and to deliver someone who is in a leadership position who we can respect. Can I get an amen? That's all I want. I want some decency and some normalcy back in Washington, D.C.
There is no book that has been written about how does a little girl, a little black girl, grow up to be the attorney general, and then it's like she's fighting in a way that there's a spirit that guides her. And so obviously there's no book that you read, so you're writing the book. What might the title of that book be that some little girl might be able to read because she's going to follow in your footsteps?
My name is Tish. Just call me Tish. That's it. Of a congresswoman whose district that I live in, Congresswoman SHIRLEY CHISHOLM. Yes. A woman whose integrity and fierce determination in the face of tremendous odds inspired me to be the best possible version of myself. At a time when she was treated as less than and denied a seat at the table, she said, "Bring your own folding chair." She didn't back down, and she told us all to bring our own chair in such circumstances. Who recognized that none of us are free until all of us are free. Because of Congresswoman Chisholm and Fannie Lou Hamer, they knew that they had to be a difference maker. They knew that their voice should be heard, that they needed to be respected, and that they needed to bring more people into democracy and at the table of power. That inspired me not to give up and to insist on putting in the hard work to get where I am, despite the fact that there are so many individuals who suffer from this bias of low expectations. But each and every time, sisters, we walk in through the door, they don't expect much of us, but we continue to blow it out the door.
This is very spiritual, and whatever the Spirit is telling you to communicate with this audience on this Sunday as we celebrate you and the winners and the nominees of this award show, especially during these perilous times.
You know, to continue to recognize what is at risk and to recognize that now is the power and that the power lies in our hands and that we've got to join together and unleash that power and to improve the lives of others and to tell our stories and not to be the victims of erasure and to recognize that we come from greatness and the greatness lies within us. And so this is a perilous time, but obviously this is a time that all of us can respond. You know, we support and learn about resistance and we learn about freedom fighters. And freedom fighters, that's part of who we are and what we represent. And so now is our time to walk into those polls, to engage in early voting in quiet defiance to all that is happening in our country right now, and to return it to normalcy, and together to push forward towards progress.
Fantastic. And my very last question, because I'm thinking that, can you explain, and I know this is a complicated question, but how could you have someone so qualified like Kamala Harris, who is going against someone that obviously is coming from somewhere else, and there would even be a competition for there to be such a close election? How is that possible?
There's a lot of misinformation and disinformation, and it's my responsibility and the responsibility of others and all of those who have gathered here today to tell the story about Kamala Harris. She is the most experienced candidate for president in some time. Former district attorney, where she talked about restorative justice. Former AG, where she was able to litigate and sue banks during the foreclosure crisis and get millions, if not billions of dollars for California. Former United States Senator, where she met with leaders of countries all over this globe. And now, as the vice president of these United States, she's more qualified than the last 4 presidents, and therefore she is prepared to lead. It's also important to understand that individuals like strong men. They got to get used to strong women.
President Harris has a ring to it, doesn't it? But guess what else has a ring to it? And I'm saying it, President James. I like the way that sounds. I like the way that sounds. No. I'm saying it. I'm saying
I'm
it.
not. No. Kamala Harris is a proud graduate of Howard University. I'm a proud graduate of Howard University as well. They instilled in us and instructed us each and every day to be agents of change. I'm an agent of change, and I'm heading home, back to New York.
PulseBeat.
Major elections are happening around the world this year, and it's important for you to vote for your future and for polar bears. Let's talk about it. Choosing not to vote is not the same thing as staying neutral. Someone will take office regardless and make decisions that dramatically impact your community. So what do you do if you don't like your options? It's unlikely that any candidate is going to align with all of your values, and that's frustrating. That's also completely normal. So you're trying to choose the candidates who most align with your core values and concerns. Even if you don't agree on one issue, don't give up your voice on every other topic. We can all see that the effects of climate change are becoming more visible, and people everywhere are realizing how urgently we need to act on emissions reductions. For example, Arctic sea ice acts like the world's air conditioner, but it has been declining in recent decades. And with less sea ice, the Arctic absorbs more heat, disruptions to the climate system intensify, and polar bears lose their most important habitat, and communities feel the impacts across the globe. Both people and polar bears need climate action at all scales of government to help protect sea ice. But polar bears can't vote. Voting for candidates that support climate action is a powerful way to help reduce emissions and create a better future for us all. Don't sit out any election. Make sure your voice is heard. People and polar bears have a shared future, and your vote will help decide where we're headed for generations to come.
Hello, Detroit. Election Day is November 5th, but why wait? Beginning Saturday, October 19th, you can vote early at one of Detroit's 14 early vote centers. Early voting runs through Sunday, November 3rd, so let your voice be heard and vote early. If you're voting by absentee ballot, return your ballot as soon as possible. For more information, visit our website or give us a call. And remember to vote, because it's not only your right, it's the right thing to do.
Of a new generation, PulseBeat.tv.
If you like what we're doing, please tell a friend, or if you want to see what we've done again, go to PulseBeatGlobal.com. That's PulseBeatGlobal.com. You can also go to our PulseBeat TV YouTube channel, and you can revisit what we're doing. And once again, you can tell everybody that we're doing something that is so exciting that they wouldn't want to miss it. Remember, PulseBeatGlobal.com or the YouTube channel, PulseBeat TV. Thanks for telling the world about us. voting is very powerful, and whether you're voting for an elected official or an elected official is voting for something that we know is meaningful and powerful, we must stand behind them. Such is the case coming out of Michigan from some very strong women in leadership. Stay tuned as we introduce you to what State Representative Helena Scott is passionate about having done.
Major League Baseball has a long history, but for too long, only white players were allowed to play in the MLB. So black players built their own leagues and wrote their own history. Hamtramck Stadium was completed in 1930 and was home field for the Detroit Stars, one of the league's founding members. Today, just 5 original league stadiums still stand, including this one. Legends played here in Hamtramck. Andy Cooper, a southpaw with 120 wins. Turkey Stearns, a 6-time home run leader and recent major, yes. We got family in the house today, so. Recent Major League Hall of Fame inductee who led the team in nearly every batting statistic. And Michigan-born Ron Teasley, one of the league's last surviving players. He shared this field with Willie Mays, may he rest in power, and even number 42 himself, Jackie Robinson. 18 players who played right here in Hamtramck Stadium made it all the way to Cooperstown. So their stories are baseball history. And I'm so proud that this stadium was restored and grateful that the MLB decided to incorporate their achievements into the official record books. I want to thank everyone who was a part of that story, the past and currently keeping it alive today, because those stories matter. Their achievements must count, and we must educate and remind people about it. We acknowledge players who made history and honor their memories. Everyone deserves to play, and every story deserves to be told and remembered. And that's why today I'm going to be signing Representative Helena Scott's bipartisan bill to honor the history of black baseball players and teams in Michigan.
Last year, my legislation, Public Act 215, was enacted. This legislation not only memorializes a pivotal moment in history, but also reaffirms our commitment to educating future generations about the profound impact of slavery and the long journey towards equality. We cannot afford to forget the history of our country.
Let us know why this bill is distinctively remarkable.
So the Negro League Day bill is remarkable because we are celebrating the history, the legacy of our Negro League players. My great uncle Ron, who is 97 years old, was an original Negro Leaguer. He actually played on this field in Hamtramck. So that's why it was so important for me to make sure, and in addition to not just him, but the other players, the Turkey Stearns family, to make sure that I got this bill across the finish line. I've been working on this legislation, honestly, for about almost 4 years. My first term in office, I had my great uncle Ron up at the Capitol. We honored him with a tribute on both years of my first term. And then when we got majority 2 years ago, I said, you know what, I'm going to work tirelessly and relentlessly to make sure that this becomes law in the state of Michigan, because we had majority of the House and the Senate, and I knew that I could get the votes, and I had the confidence and the support of our great Speaker of the House, Joe Tate, that was totally behind this 100%. So I'm so proud and honored that I was able to do this for the legacy of all the ball players and to make sure that this happened across the finish line.
Every time I speak to her, I know she represents everyone. I have seen her work with anyone, everyone to get something done. And that isn't always common in politics and in government. But I have no doubt whatsoever that whenever she puts her mind to something, it's going to get done.
And we're in a very crucial year. This is a presidential year. And I think it's important for everyone to exercise what people died for, and that's the right to vote. But can you say something to inspire anybody that is watching how know and why they should exercise this wonderful gift, the ability to vote if they're able to vote?
Oh, absolutely. So never doubt that every vote counts. There are elections that are close every year. Michigan is one of those states in the nation that will decide our next president. And we know we have a clear choice. But sitting on the sofa on a rainy day is not a choice. You have to exercise your choice because it's that critical. Now, we're going to get tired of hearing people say that this is the most crucial election we've had in the last whatever years. But this time it is actually true. There's a clear choice, and we've got people running in state office that help us get things done on the state level. Everybody that's elected in Washington, D.C. actually passed down a lot of work to your state officials and your local officials. I'm learning that as a mayor, that nothing happens unless somebody gets on a street, on a phone, and makes it happen. So we need people like Helena Scott to get elected, to keep things working. And we need people in Washington, D.C. to get elected as well, so that the right work gets passed down to us to get done. Every vote counts. If there's something that matters to you, let Helena know, and she'll work on it. It's just how she is. She's great.
The song that is the theme song that of all this wonderful music that you could pick from the catalog of the music that we know about, that song might be?
You Gotta Be, Desiree.
And you gotta be?
You gotta be strong, you gotta be smart, and you gotta be a little wiser.
So is there a theme song that just pops in your brain that is just part of what?
No stopping us now. We're on the move. That's my theme song.
So if you ever decide not to go into politics, maybe we'll see you as a singer.
I don't think so, but anyway.
Yeah, and you know what I need for you to do? It's important that we vote.
Absolutely.
And would you say something to inspire, especially younger people, to know that their vote really does make a difference?
So I'm encouraging everybody, young, middle-aged, old, to get out and vote. It is so critical, especially in this upcoming election. I know we say that every time, that this is the most important election of our lifetime, but this truly is.
There's power in a vote, and there's also power in a hug.
Amen.
As a woman that is a history maker, and certainly State Representative Helena Scott is always about not only people empowerment, but certainly the importance of empowerment of women. Is there something that you can say especially to young women that are watching this that might think my vote doesn't make a difference?
I would tell you that your vote does make a difference. I will tell you also in my race, I had council members, new council members on council, and it was a matter of 12 votes that this one council member got on. 12 votes. Your vote makes a difference. You have a voice, and you have to get out there and you have to vote, especially in this election, because our lives depend on it. So get out there and vote and support, and just know your voice matters. And I hope to see more African Americans leading in this community. So there are a lot of firsts going on here. I'm the first African American mayor. There are a lot of firsts, but I don't want to be the last, ever.
Now, I got to ask this question. As a little girl, did you, and you can be very honest, did you say, I'm going to be a mayor among the many things that will be part of my journey? Did you ever see yourself as being the mayor of a city when you were a little girl?
I didn't see myself as being a council member or the mayor. I'm a mom. I'm a mother of 5 beautiful children. I got involved in the schools, and before you knew it, I was on the school board that led to council, that led to being the mayor, and I plan to be involved from here on out. I don't have this elaborate background that a lot of people have. I'm a mom that wanted to be part of change, and I hope that I'm a mentor to others that want to be a part of change. You can do it. It doesn't matter what your background. We're right smack in the middle of 5 municipalities: Detroit, Hazel Park, Royal Oak, Pleasant Ridge. Me as mayor, I focus on inclusion and diversity, and you're welcome to come to Ferndale, because that is my goal, to make Ferndale a more welcoming place. So it's a mission. I'm already working on it, and I think it's already happening. So come on down to Ferndale, enjoy, and come have a drink with me sometime.
Hello, I'm excited to remind you that Tuesday, November 5th is Election Day. And whether you vote by absentee ballot, at one of our early vote centers, or on Election Day, there are 3 easy ways to vote the partisan section of your ballot. 1, vote straight party ticket by filling in the oval next to the party of your choice, and that's it. 2, you can vote a split ticket by voting for the party of your choice and then selecting candidates in various offices from different political parties. Or 3, vote a mixed ticket by voting for candidates in different political parties across the ballot. Once you've completed the partisan section, make sure you vote the nonpartisan section of the ballot. And finally, if you vote by absentee, please return your ballot as soon as possible. Doing so helps us to process and report results in a timely manner. And remember to vote, because it's not only your right, it's the right thing to do.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-260-9240. That's 877-260-9240. Call now.
I love teaching others because when I first got into the healthcare field, people overlooked me. I was really a 9th grade dropout who had no education, but I was determined to make something of myself for my baby. So Motor City matched the funds I put into my business. They awarded me $20,000. So now I'm able to focus solely on first step healthcare training and give it everything that it needs. All because I live in Detroit.
And for those who are watching and they're thinking, I'm not going to vote because voting, it doesn't really mean anything, what might you tell them?
Voting is everything. It is our voice. It makes such a difference. We, in Pleasant Ridge, we had an election that came down to 17 votes. I mean, everybody has to get out there and vote and really make a difference. I mean, it's our power. I make sure I'm out there at every single election, no matter if it's contested, uncontested. It is, you know, we can't take it for granted, especially with this election, national election that's coming up in November. No one could sit out. We have to step up and vote for democracy.
The only way we're going to win is to get out and vote, and the apathy has been earned. You know, when you talk to people, the apathy is public officials haven't been doing what they should be doing for a long time. But the only way you change that is to buy into a group that sounds right, that sounds active, and get out and endorse them. Give it a chance. I mean, you know, the low voting rate is really sad. And, you know, I don't get mad about it because I do know, unfortunately, the politicians have earned it. But we got to reverse it. You can vote almost any time of the day, community colleges, lots of places. Absentee votes, obviously. If you haven't gotten your absentee vote, you still have time enough to do it. But if not, pick a time that's convenient for you and cast your vote.
Let's review. When people vote, they make important choices.
PulseBeat.